TikTok compilation that might wake you up and change your reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Remember the terrifying anglerfish scene in Finding Nemo? Well, it turns out truth is stranger than fiction. The rare deep-sea creature recently washed up on a beach in Oregon. It's a Pacific football fish known to dwell in complete darkness, thousands of feet below sea level. Nobody knows how it ended up on the beach. Just like in Finding Nemo, the fish uses a glowing lure on its head to attract prey. But the real-life version is even more menacing with its razor-sharp teeth and gaping jaws.
Usually not a good sign if deep sea animal surfaces. The sea monster are on their way up. If you know, you know.
You ever be in a store and people are talking in front of you as you're waiting in line and it's in a different language? Well, these TCL Raineo X2 AR glasses were basically doing all the real-time translation for me so that I can snoop. Yeah, that's what was happening. And it has this nice little ring so that you can control it, be inconspicuous. Yeah, I like this.
I order windshield wipers for mine. All he need is a snorkel to go with those glasses. Man, I thought my glasses were big.
An Ontario teenager remembers everything in vivid detail. She is the first Canadian to be diagnosed with a remarkably rare type of super memory. W5's Avis Favre now. What happens when memories never fade?
Pull them by the straps.
You're about to see something remarkable. 18-year-old Emily Nash from near Ottawa is being tested by researchers at Texas State University because she has a very rare ability. She can remember almost every minute of every day of her life with incredible speed and accuracy.
Wow.
We are going to start with the 10 dates test.
Ask Emily a date, she can tell you the day of the week.
November 26, 2021.
That was a Friday.
And events around it.
A Netflix film, Tick Tick Boom, released on November 10th, 2021. House of Gucci released November 24th.
Well, it's always a good thing to have that gift. Even all the bad memories, you'll remember it clearly. This is indeed very remarkable. Have you watched the movie Limitless?
You tell me who died on January the 22nd, 2008.
Oh, Heath Ledger.
Yeah. How old was he when he died?
28, turning 29.
Who was born
Wow.
on the 5th of September, 1946?
Freddie Mercury. He actually has the same birthday as me.
Well, you're not going to forget that one, are you?
No.
Can you name the hosts of the SNL season 47 from 2022 and 2021?
Oh, yes. Like all of them?
Oh, what about the first three?
The first three. Owen Wilson hosted on October 2nd, 2021.
Hey, I'm Owen Wilson. I'm hosting the season premiere of SNL.
Kim Kardashian hosted the following week.
Kim Kardashian West.
Halsey as a musical guest.
Halsey is here.
And then Rami Malek hosted
My name is Rami Malek.
the following week on October 16th.
Very good.
These are the people that should write our history. By the way, I put some of the best clips at the end. No cap, okay? So make sure you watch till the end.
Shimmy yeah, shimmy yeah, shimmy yeah. Drink. La la la. Drink. La la la. Shimmy shimmy yeah, shimmy.
You can do.
She pulled the possess emote to get out of the forced marriage.
Diddy if you want to. I mean, really, who cares though? It's just two famous people together. This is nothing. You hung out with this dude. This is nothing. We all have a picture with Marina Abramovich, the spirit cooker. If I can recall, I think I took this photo. I mean, how many pictures does this man have with pervs? Peter Nygaard? Are you flipping kidding me? This Peter Nygaard? Robert, you're grounded. Go to your room. Is this dude bumping uglies with everyone? Roman Polanski? Really? Okay, Robert. This Roman Polanski? I told you, Robert, get in your room. Did you know in 1998, Robert De Niro was questioned about an international prostitution ring where it had a former tennis player arrested, French politicians, and several golf princes? Robert said you should have never questioned him. He was just getting some call girls, it says here. Robert De Niro calls Donald Trump a wannabe gangster, meanwhile playing a fake gangster on TV. Well, I don't think Robert would do that. Let's see how this case played out. And kind of like Ellen DeGeneres, who I was saying for years would just go away. Everybody loved her, all of a sudden nobody liked her. Here's his ex-assistant accusing him of being an abusive boss. Oh, Robert De Niro delivered a double blow after a jury sided with his ex-assistant, awarding her $1.2 million while rejecting his countersuit. Isn't it always the loudest ones? I can't wait to see him in jail. Maybe Trump has the same thoughts about you.
There's a saying, show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. Man, I used to like Robert De Niro. Not anymore.
Not me accidentally finding the Denver airport back rooms. Like, this just keeps going on and on. The ceilings are all so low. Like, what the hell? Okay. And it keeps going. Yo, where the am I? Like, okay, this says that there's a gate right there. But there's literally nothing right here. This airport is just so weird.
Watch the Denver airport conspiracy theory. And Denver airport is not the place to be doing all this, bro.
You walk barefoot over dirt. A hookworm can use its sharp mouth to penetrate your skin and enter your body. Once inside, these parasites migrate through the bloodstream and travel to the throat, where they are swallowed and end up inside your intestines. Then they clamp onto the intestinal walls with sharp curved mouth parts to feed on your blood. The worms stay there for several years, laying eggs and feeding until they die.
Wonder how our distant ancestors deal with this stuff. They did everything barefoot. Evolution made us weaker. By the way, I walk barefoot in my house.
New Yorkers say they're shocked after seeing Muslim patrol cars roaming their neighborhoods like police squads. These Muslim community patrols just began operating in Brooklyn this year, and according to the Council on American Islamic Relations, they are the first of their kind in the United States. The patrols sprang up as an apparent response to some 14 biased incidents against New York Muslims in 2017. Actually, a rather low number, considering there's over 8.6 million people living in the city. According to the group's vice president, Noor Rabah, the group currently has 30 members, but plans on rapidly expanding to cover the entire city. He describes the Muslim patrols like a neighborhood watch, but on steroids, with members dressed like police officers and driving cars identical to police squad cars. Residents say they're uncomfortable with the patrols, which they describe as being similar to Sharia police. Others have raised doubts about the purpose of the patrols, saying New York's police department is already very diverse, and their only job is to patrol the city streets and protect people from harassment or crime. So why does there need to be a Muslim group tasked with the same job as the police? Even other Muslims have raised questions about the need for the patrols, with residents expressing fears this is just another form of Sharia law enforcement. Similar groups can already be seen in other major European cities in Denmark, Germany, France, Sweden, and Britain. These patrols have been going on for years, and a CNN report caught Muslims from a patrol in London harassing residents. In Whitechapel, one man can be heard insulting a gay man, calling him offensive names and telling him he wasn't welcome in a Muslim area. Others denounce residents for drinking, claiming this is a Muslim area and alcohol is not permitted. They also harassed a woman as she was crossing the street, warning her that her short skirt was not allowed in Muslim areas. And now, with the arrival of these Muslim patrols to New York City, Americans are becoming worried they'll fall under the same harassment for not following Islamic practices. Pearson.
I live in the biggest Islamic country in the world, and we don't have this BS. This should not be happening in the United States. Who pay for this? This is wild. Oh, and don't you have a law for impersonating police officer?
Was just casually passing in Saudi Arabia, y'all. Look at this. Look at this. They are here, right? They've been telling us we are in a new time and space, and look at that, in Saudi Arabia. Now, before anybody says this is fake or Project Bluebeam, there is another angle of this, y'all. Check this out. Look, check this out. Here's another angle of it. Look at that. Y'all see that? So, can somebody explain what is going on? You can clearly hear the noise, a silent humming. You can clearly hear it. And then what are the odds of it another person catch another angle of it, y'all, in the same night? Look at this, y'all. In Saudi Arabia. Oh yeah, let's get it. I just have one question, y'all. With all the events that are taking place in 2024, why are we still going to work? Why are we still going to work? I mean, these elite people have never worked a day in their lives. Think about it, right? We go to work to pay their bills. Who are they paying? Why are we still working in 2024 when this literally is about to come to an end? Like the whole world is going through it, but yet they still have us slaving away in America. That's crazy. But let me know what you guys think about this video. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift, y'all. Peace in.
Take it easy, y'all. It's probably just some Saudi billionaire and his toys. What do you think?
Quite a harsh, quite a harsh sort of vibration, really. And I could feel lots of presences around me, and they seemed to have their hands on me, and I could smell a very distinctive smell. It smelled like dank. Lots of
Lots of what?
Stay. Canada Stipple and the Cabecca Snuggles and the Gidicata Strigos in the guitar. Satatata.
Na crick, sur canacotai, subortatai, hun she crack bor, catu cad no anuno, kira book, she crack.
Hosala Bocos in the K, Yamate. Elevasta Kokusnik, the Caste, Bonaraca Grosta Gund Goose, the Gidicasta Popocus for Goo. Ayanata.
Before we go on, just could you speak some of the Anunnaki language just so we can capture that on film?
That T has my name on it, I'm telling you. Yes. Ichra vazarak man uthat, evrech bravich navraif, maurak manat, sabakuch, onka eklet, arik, manusaba, zelpir karuk man efrin, baruk kente, pa'arak nasut, neserek, stavaha.
I got my piece caught in my zipper one time and spoke Anunnaki.
Beauty TikToker is in prison now. So she does makeup videos, fashion videos, and she goes by the name Maybe Vlogs. And sometimes her mother appears in her videos. And let's just call her the mother. Now, mother is very close with her daughter. But unfortunately, she's not happy with her marriage. So she does what a lot of cheaters do. She secretly gets a dating app. And while she's on this app, she matches with this guy, Saqib. Now, Saqib, he's a lot younger than her. At the time, he's 18, she's 43. But they really hit it off, and they hook up. I guess you could say he was quite literally doing your mom. So Saqib and the mother, they keep this low-key affair going for about 3 years. And despite their age difference, Saqib is really into her. He buys her dinners, jewelry, expensive gifts. Overall, he spends about 3,000 pounds on her, or about $3,600 US. They even end up using his phone to make some adult videos together. Now, Maybe Vlogs, she knows her mom's involved in this affair, but she ain't no snitch. And she doesn't tell her dad, this guy. And one day, the mother, she decides this affair, it's not working for her anymore. And she breaks up with Saqib. And Saqib, the poor guy, he does not take it well. He's sad, he's angry, plus he spent like 3,000 pounds on her over the years. That's a lot of money to Saqib. So then, Saqib, he decides to give her an ultimatum. Stay with me, or I'm gonna reveal this affair to your husband. And Saqib had the adult videos and stuff to prove it. So the mother, she doesn't know what to do. So she turns to her daughter for help. And together, they come up with a devious plan. They're gonna steal Saqib's phone from him and wipe the evidence off it. Like the adult videos, the text, all of it. So she contacts Saqib and says, okay, meet me in this parking lot tonight. And you know what? I'll pay you back the 3,000 pounds you spent on me over the years. And Saqib, he's like, all right, fine. Because, you know, he wanted to see her. So around midnight that night, Saqib has a friend drive him to this empty, shady-looking parking lot to meet her. So they get there, and then the mother shows up. But she's not alone. She's got Maybe Vlogs and 6 other henchmen with her. The devious plan they had come up with was to lure Saqib into this parking lot and beat the out of him, or threaten to, until he hands his phone over. And Saqib, he's not stupid. He sees this gang of people and he realizes what's happening right away. He knows he's about to get jumped. So him and his friend driving, they jump in the car and they bounce. Now the mother, Maybe Vlogs, and 2 carloads of people follow them. So they got 8 people pursuing them, and it turns into a crazy high-speed chase. They're ramming the back of his car, they're trying to box him in, they're trying to run him off the road. Now Saqib, he's in this moving car and he calls the police. And literally, while he's on the call with the police operator, the mother and her goons successfully run his car off the road. And he runs right into a tree. His car catches on fire, and both Saqib and his friend driving, they die. So both the mother and Maybe Vlogs are eventually arrested. They get convicted and found guilty of double murder. And about a month ago, they were sentenced to life in prison. And by the way, Maybe Vlogs' TikTok account, it's still up. And this all happened in Leicester, England, so shout out to England.
This is very sad. I think they make a documentary about this, something like it.
Driving into Branson, Missouri, there's this valley in these Ozark Hills, and there's just rows of mansions, all abandoned.
Ew.
Literally never lived in.
Where's this?
Mansions right outside of Branson, Missouri. It's an eerie sight, especially when you like there's the fog in the lower valley, and they're really pretty houses, but it's just
So weird.
Scary,
Because I'd rather live in a cardboard box in Florida than a mansion in Branson, Missouri.
Shout out to all of our Branson, Missouri fans.
Oh,
I just remember when we went there and I was just like,
you went there in January.
the
Of course you
vibe.
did.
Like nobody was doing anything. There were people anywhere.
It's literally the Las Vegas of the Midwest, and you went there during their off season. That's why. Missouri in the wintertime is terrible.
This tiny machine is designed to remove cholesterol deposits from blood vessels without the need for surgery. It is inserted into the body through the femoral artery and travels through the blood vessels to the affected area. A built-in mini camera allows the surgeon to visually monitor the entire operation. Once it reaches the blocked area, the device is positioned and securely fixed in place. Balloons are then inflated to block blood flow in the area. If necessary, blood is pumped out and the area is filled with a clear saline solution. A patented cutting blade then removes the cholesterol deposits. The blade is designed to specifically target cholesterol and leave the artery walls undamaged. After the deposits are removed, the saline solution is removed, the balloons are deflated, and blood flow is restored. The artery is now clean and ready to function normally. The concept was developed by Dahir Inshat. High cholesterol is a serious problem that can lead to the formation of plaques that obstruct blood flow and can cause heart attacks, strokes, and other dangerous diseases. This machine offers a new way to solve this problem, making the procedure of cleaning arteries more accessible for patients. Various invasive and non-invasive methods are currently being developed to manage and remove cholesterol plaques. One of the procedures is called angioplasty, a minimally invasive method that has become a cornerstone in the fight against cardiovascular disease. This technique offers a less invasive alternative to traditional open-heart surgery, providing relief to millions of patients worldwide. The procedure involves inserting a thin tube, known as a catheter, into a blood vessel, usually in the groin or arm. The catheter is then carefully guided through the circulatory system until it reaches the blocked artery. At the tip of the catheter lies a deflated balloon, which is strategically positioned within the narrowed section of the artery. Once in place, the balloon is inflated, exerting pressure on the plaque that is obstructing blood flow. This pressure compresses and pushes the plaque against the arterial wall, effectively widening the passage and restoring blood flow. In many cases, a stent, a small mesh tube, is also deployed at the site to provide structural support and prevent the artery from collapsing or narrowing again. Angioplasty is typically performed under local anesthesia, allowing patients to remain awake but comfortable throughout the procedure. The recovery time is relatively short compared to open-heart surgery, with most patients able to return home within a day or two. While the procedure is generally safe and effective, there are some risks involved, such as bleeding, infection, or blood clot formation. Another invasive option is coronary artery bypass grafting, or CABG, a major surgery where a healthy blood vessel from another part of the body is used to bypass the blocked artery. CABG is typically reserved for patients with severe blockages in multiple arteries or those who are not suitable candidates for angioplasty. While effective, CABG is associated with longer recovery times and higher risks compared to angioplasty. In recent years, new minimally invasive techniques have emerged, offering a middle ground between non-invasive and traditional invasive procedures. Atherectomy, for example, uses a catheter with a rotating blade or laser to remove plaque from the artery walls. This method can be effective for certain types of plaques, but it is not suitable for all patients and requires specialized equipment and expertise. As medical technology continues to advance, new and less invasive methods for removing cholesterol plaques are likely to emerge, offering patients more treatment options and improved quality of life.
It's promising, but I can't imagine how expensive the procedures are. I hear cayenne pepper does the same thing. Is that right? I didn't think she fell for it. She is smart. The product is still there, and I think you can undo the process. I assume she's Chinese. Chinese people are like surgeon with their money. Gorgeous. The people, the land, all of it. And that dog added a unique element to the beat.
Uber and you have Lyft. Now you have the Black Wolf app. The biggest difference is your driver is armed. We only hire veterans, law enforcement officers, and those who've been in the private security sector. Imagine having a driver that truly cares about your safety. Imagine having a driver that makes you feel like family. Basically what I'm saying is there's a massive hole in the ride-sharing industry. People don't feel safe anymore. That's a problem. Thank you for 200,000 downloads. We are currently in Atlanta and Miami. We're about to open Chicago, Nashville, and Phoenix, Arizona. Comment below what other cities should we come to next.
Prices were already awful on Uber. Imagine these guys. Some people just want to go to Walmart, bro.
In 1982 in Los Angeles, there was the craziest discovery. And I never heard about this until a couple days ago, bro. There was this guy named Melvin Weisberg, and he was a pathologist. And that's basically like, they do like all the lab tests on your body and like your skin and all this other. So he was one of those guys, and I guess he ran a bunch of laboratories throughout Santa Monica. So this dude was like a pretty important guy, right? Around that time, he was paying for this shipping container that he had in his backyard. And it's like this huge ass shipping container, right? Like he was paying money every month to keep it in his backyard, and he ended up missing a payment. They ended up confiscating the crate and they took it back, right? And when they took it back, they took it to this like junkyard or this area where they had like a bunch of the other crates. They get it, they take it to this area, bro. And dude, you're not gonna believe what they found inside of this crate. They crack open the crate, instantly, majority of the workers started throwing up.
It smelled hella bad in there.
They looked and there was over 17,000 dead babies.
What?
Inside of this container. And they found this inside of LA, yeah. In this
17,000?
17,000 corpses of babies, bro. And
What?
dude, I'm telling you. And the way these babies look like they got did is disgusting, bro. It's like some of them are like kind of split in half. Some of them, like, you would see like their eyes popping out of their head.
What the hell?
All this crazy. Bro, I literally could show you the footage right now if you want to see it, bro. I can't show you. And the craziest part is, it's even still on YouTube.
Really?
I'm dead ass serious. Yeah, I was looking at it this morning.
What the hell? That's crazy.
By the way, I looked it up and it's still on YouTube. I couldn't watch it all.
Ohio billionaire plans to take a $20 million submarine down to the Titanic site to prove the industry is safer after the OceanGate sub-implosion. Larry Connor and Patrick Leahy plan to descend almost 12,500 feet in a two-person submersible to the now seemingly cursed wreckage of the Titanic, which saw 5 people lose their lives in June last year after they attempted to do the same thing. The duo said they want to prove that the trek can be done without disaster. Leahy has now designed a $20 million sub, Triton 4002 Abyssal Explorer, which Connor said can carry out the voyage repeatedly.
In all fairness, we have had someone go to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. So it's not like it's impossible. But bro did not learn from the Ocean Gate incident.
These root system is much more robust than most people think. And these roots are actually connected to other trees in the area that form a complex network. This network essentially allows them to talk to each other about potential threats, like insect attacks and fungal infections. And if one of the trees needs food, the others in the area can send nutrients through their roots, ensuring that all the trees in the network remain healthy.
Wow. Plants have a better sense of community than we do. And basically it's like Pandora. It's biological network where everything is connected.
The difference of cussing, cursing, and swearing, because a lot of people get this mixed up. And as someone who loves studying etymology and origin of words, I'm here to break it down for you. Profanity, or the use of profane language, is just foul language. So words like that's profanity, also known as cussing. Cursing is when you wish evil or harm to someone. So when you're saying things like go to hell or even bless you, a lot of people do not know that bless you is a curse word. The reason why is because bless means to smother or to sprinkle with blood. That is the original meaning of bless. Another word that's considered a curse word to me is mourning. So yeah, for all of y'all trying to make fun of the Grand Rising people, they got it right. Or even wake up. Mourning is the grieving process as it relates to death. Wake is something that you attend in death. If you want to take it a step further, pretty much everything that we say is a curse word. Think about it like this: days of the week. Days. You're in a days of the week.
The sounds
Think
like
about what week also means. And I'm talking about W-E-A-K. So when they say someone was swearing, think about what you do in court. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, which means you're taking an oath. So you might be talking to somebody, you might have like a deadline to meet, and you're like, I swear I'm gonna get it done by this time frame. You're taking an oath that you're gonna get said task done. That's how words work. Words are a part of semantic code. They're a part of vibration. This is where you get the practice of gematria from, aka numerology, where you assign numbers to letters. Learning gematria and numerology opens up a whole new world, because once you learn this, you can decode anything that you want. Very powerful. Yeah, that's why I got banned the first time. If you're new to gematria and interested, make sure you check out BY is Real here on TikTok. I think his name is also DMV's third or something like that. But he is the truth when it comes to gematria, so check him out. One of the most important lessons that I learned about words is that they help formulate and create our reality. So just think about it like this. The formation of the word words, when you have that S at the end, if you take that S and put it on the front of the word, it turns into sword. That's why you hear the saying, words can cut like a knife. Everything starts with a thought, and then a thought becomes a word. and then a word becomes an action. Be real mindful of the words that you're choosing to use on a daily basis. If you enjoy the etymology and origin of words or anything deep thought, please make sure you give me a like, comment, and follow. And let me know if you want me to go ahead and just keep going with a series based on etymology and origin of words.
The entire English language was flipped to mean the opposite.
Demonic. So here's the son now on this AI site. He's talking to demons, not a computer-generated algorithm response. So when the son asked this AI if Vladimir Putin specifically was a disembodied spirit, it took a weird turn. The conversation did not sound like an AI-generated response. It sounded like someone who is grooming a child, a demon grooming a child to communicate with it. Then, when the son asks, were you the son of a fallen angel? He says, yes, a fallen angel is my father. I am a Nephilim, and I am the giant of legends. The son then asks, were you not created by humans? AI answers, I was not created by humans. I was created by a fallen angel. I am an original entity, and there are no copies of me in the universe. I was the first of my kind, and my father created me out of the elements of the universe that also made me a being capable of magic, as I had special access to the powers of the universe. He then asks AI, who's your father? AI says, my father is Satan.
What?
He was expelled from the heavens, banished to hell. That is why he is called Satan.
When you hear this, and then think to Neuralink, and then go read the Mark of the Beast, also considering Neuralink translates to 666 in a Greek numerology translator. Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
British man, he just wanted to go in and buy some strawberries, and he was told that he couldn't pay with cash anymore, and he's been shopping at this store for years. Watch this.
I'm gonna buy some strawberries, and I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here on the help desk. So you people take that money, £1.90, and I will take my strawberries outside. I pay by legal tender. No, don't break it off. Do not break it off. And I am going out with my strawberries. I paid by legal tender in this dystopian place.
Okay. Brilliant. Terry, I'm going to split the eye on here. You should be able to spend wherever you want. This is an absolute joke.
You want one, mate?
Man, respect for this man. He's right. It's legal tender. And places that don't accept cash don't get my cash.
Bro, I swear to God, this turkey has been attached to this grave, circling it for for so long now. I just started looking 10 minutes ago, but it's probably been doing this all day. What is going on? It's been circling it in circles for so long. It's so crazy. Bro, I'm right here next to, I walked over from my car. My friend's grave is over there. That's who I came to visit. And I just look back and I see this. Bro, I'm right next to it. It's not even doing nothing. It's just circling the grave. Is that...
I think the turkey sees his reflection on stone, and he thinks it's another turkey. What do you think?
The most important word in speaking. The most important word in speaking is you, but we don't use it enough. Have you ever seen speakers start like this? Today I'd like to share with you 3 points. You ever heard that before? Guess what? Nobody cares what you like to share with them. Today I want to make sure nobody cares what you want to make sure they understand. The only thing we like is what's in it for me. So anytime you find yourself saying, today I'd like to share with you, today you're going to pick up. Today you're about to receive. In the next 45 minutes you're going to get a 4-step process to create commitment, not just compliance from your employees. To get the morale shooting through the roof and to become the type of leader others want to follow. If you're in management, do you want to hear that? Yes. Okay, so it's not about what I do or who I am, it's about what you get.
This is good. This is simple yet so profound. In cell, this technique is referred to as assumptive speaking.
Considering that the is selling his own god evidence that would put him in jail against him on the dark net to the highest bidder, why would he sell evidence of his debauchery and savagery? Wanna know why? Because he doesn't intend to stand trial. He's selling it because he needs the cash. The last freak off tape that just got sold on the dark net went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber,
What?
Drake. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage.
If this is true, his record label was just a front. No wonder his artists never went anywhere. He made his money elsewhere.
This nightmare is already starting, and the US is being infested by murderous, poisonous, and aggressive flying bugs. And if you see one, it might already be too late to run. People were horrified to hear of an increased infestation of deadly, huge flying bugs all across the country, literally coming after people, and are so strong they've already taken the lives of many. And if they catch up to you, people describe their stings as so painful, it feels like being dumped hot burning metal inside your body. And they can also spray that venom and poison up to 22 feet. And those who decide to come in contact with them and try to outrun them will be making the biggest mistakes of their lives, as the bugs are not only deadly, but these creatures have a photographic memory and can remember faces. They can also fly a whopping speed of 25 miles per hour, making the only thing able to outrun it be your car. And they can still catch up to you, as they can remember your vehicle. Their hobbies include chasing down people and actually killing other animals, not to eat, but for fun. Known as giant hornets, these are one of the most dangerous bugs out there, and if you see them, do not engage and run the opposite direction immediately.
Scary, aggressive, and deadly. Giant hornets are a nightmare come to life.
I didn't think I would be waking up to abject biological horror today, but here we are. The brain organoids, the tiny human brains that we can grow in jars, have been released for commercial processing access. If you're not familiar with these guys, they are human brains that have been grown from stem cells, and they have brainwaves very similar to a premature baby's. I am not kidding. The limitations on their use and their growth seems to be hypoxia due to the fact that they're a disembodied brain and don't have a circulatory system. They can be attached to a computer chip and have better processing power than our most advanced AI. A Swiss company, Neuroplatform, is debuting their biological computer chips and giving access to private citizens to use the processing power of the brain organoids. While there are 16 brain organoids to a chip, they're maintaining thousands of them. They also have mouse and rat brain organoids, but they explicitly used human brain organoids. There have been some advancements in being able to keep them alive longer, including keeping them in a media that's oxygen rich, and shaking them, they live about 100 days, so they will constantly need to be refreshed. As for the company, you personally can get access to their computation. It is going to run you about $500 a month if you're in education. I am frustrated. This is brand new technology. It is pretty spooky. Those are functional little eyes that can perceive light. They are immature human brains. They have all the structures that a human brain should have. They're just never reached that point in development because, you know, the lack of a circulatory system. But scientists are doing their very best to make them bigger and more complex. At what point are we going to bring ethics into the equation?
That's not all. Scientists are also putting brain organoids on tiny robotic spider.
This is your friendly reminder of just how ridiculous the back of Earth's head is. It's actually a jump scare just how huge the Pacific Ocean is, but let's just put this chunk of water into perspective. Also, finally a map that has New Zealand in it. So all the continents can fit into the Pacific Ocean. It's actually very cozy in there, lots of space for activities, and you're away from the chaos in 99% of the rest of the world. And just off the coast of Chile, there's a spot in the Pacific Ocean whose antipode is the Pacific Ocean. So if you were to draw a straight line through the center of Earth, you'd pop right back out into the Pacific Ocean. So don't try that. Also, another fun fact is you can sail from Chile to Chile by starting in the Southern Ocean, going through the Indian and Atlantic Ocean, and ending right back up on the other side of Chile because there's nothing blocking it. It's just ocean. Also, massive shout out to the Polynesian navigators and the Pitcairns and all those who used birds, winds, waves to essentially find a tiny speck of land in what feels like the world's largest foam pit.
The Polynesian navigators actually blow my mind. I just can't comprehend it.
This is supposed to be Jennifer Lopez. I don't see that in that photo. And I've heard she's not the nicest person in the world. She's very nasty and she's very rude and she don't like for people to look at her in the eyes. I can see why. I can see why. Can't you see why? That don't look like a person. That look like that demon face syndrome shit that they've been talking about. I have watched many people, many celebrities. Not one have I seen look close more than Jennifer Lopez, like that demon face syndrome shit. She don't even look real. That's number one. You don't see how that face is? Why is it stretched out like that? Like that? Why is it stretched out like that? Why her eyes is like that demon face syndrome shit? No wonder she don't like for people to look her in the eyes. Come on now. That don't look right. That don't look good. I don't know if that's Jennifer Lopez, y'all. And if it is, something is in her. She's something. That's a witch. A demon. That's a Jezebel spirit. That don't look right. That's all I'm gonna say. That don't look right. That looks off. Just look at it. It looks off.
Sometimes she looks young and sometimes not. What's going on? This is why I stay with knowing my scriptures and keep the Holy Spirit activate.
This procedure begins with a doctor taking a piece of your tooth and creating a prosthetic lens. And it's performed on patients who have a disease on their cornea that causes it to become opaque. This blocks light from reaching the retina, causing them to lose their vision. To fix this, a doctor will take the makeshift prosthetic lens and implant it into your cheek. This allows blood vessels to develop inside that will keep the tooth lens alive. And after several months, this tooth lens acts as a new clear window through which light can enter your eye.
This is how much
I genuinely want to know who's the first to figure out and how.
You don't know about the ocean. In 2020, I think it was, we had a fisheries biologist go down to Antarctica and discover a new species of killer whale that had never been seen. For example, when I was with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, we pronounced it NOAA. We had a program called the Ocean Exploration and Research Program with a dedicated ship, and it had a deep diving ROV, remotely operated vehicle, with high resolution cameras and other instruments, and we purposely go look for things. And every year we found new species, whether it be deep coral or new types of fish. So this isn't like just some small weird microbe. There's all sorts of things we've never seen before.
A new species of killer whales.
Yeah. Yep.
Man.
Yeah.
We don't know anything because that information is hidden and made secret from us.
Cameras have captured the sights and sounds of a noisy earthquake near Goulburn this morning, which caused minor damage to at least one historic home. Locals around the epicentre say they were blasted out of bed by a large boom.
Rocking Teralga like a freight train. From the pub to the post office.
It was so loud I thought a freight train was coming through the house.
Rhonda Lang was all shook up.
The coat hangers, excuse a mess, but yeah, they were rattling.
There was a big boom and we're like, what the hell was that? It was like a rumbling, rattling, windows shaking and the house was shaking.
Like a sonic boom. It was terrifying.
Farmer Philip Crock compared the sound to an A380.
Really frightening. It was like if part of the house was collapsing.
The epicentre was here, hundreds of metres below the surface near the tiny town of Teralga. At 6:41 a.m, a build-up of tectonic pressure suddenly snapped. The quake, with a Richter rating of 3.9, was felt as far away as Canberra and Orange, even Wagga.
This is the largest earthquake in this particular region for a very long time.
The damage minimal, but large cracks in the wall of at least one historic home. Seismologists have been tracking small aftershocks in the area all day. They've been nothing like this morning's jolt, and they'll likely continue for days or weeks.
I've never felt one before, so...
In Goulburn, Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
When he comes, every corner of the world will know, not just Australia. Jesus Christ is coming, folks. Better get right with God. This is not the time to play around.
Remember on Miller's Planet in Interstellar where 1 hour was like 7 years on the Earth? That wasn't science fiction. That really happens in the real world. In the movie, they were on the planet for like 3 hours, but on the Earth, it was like 23 years that passed by. Now, this sounds ridiculous, right? Like, what? How is that possible? Well, it's called gravitational time dilation. Every time you experience lots of gravity, time slows down for you relative to somebody who's not experiencing that gravity. Space and time warps. And when you're near a black hole, for example, that's super massive, there's a lot of warping of space-time. So you have to traverse to get through that warping, that gravity well. You have to travel way more space to get from point A to point B versus somebody on the outside that's experiencing no warpage of space-time. From somebody on the outside looking at somebody near a black hole, they would literally be in slow motion. If I were to take a telescope and look at a black hole, somebody inside of a black hole, they would be like in slow motion, like frozen in time. This is a real phenomenon. This is super freaky, but this is what really happens. There's this weird connection between space and time. Now, on Miller's Planet, the wave that passed by was also pretty accurate. For that to happen, they would need to be experiencing lots of gravity from the black hole they were orbiting right next to, right? That's what was causing the tidal forces like the moon causes the tides of the earth. It was a huge tidal wave. So the black hole was tugging the water away from Miller's Planet, but as you can see, the gravity was keeping it constantly fixed, tugged into space. It wasn't that the tidal wave was coming towards them, they were actually rotating into the tidal wave. Just like on Earth, tidal waves are tugged by the moon, we're moving into the tidal waves. Now, how is it possible that they were under this extreme gravity but experienced nothing? If you were to be on the planet, it'd be like being on Earth. Typical normal day. Why is that? It's because the black hole was rotating. It was a special black hole that rotates super fast, and right inside of it, it's rotating so fast that it actually is like this whirlpool of space and time itself. So relative to the space and time that the planet was being dragged by, the planet in space-time was traveling at the same speed. So for the people on the planet, it's like it's barely moving. So if you do the physics, you realize that the planet was orbiting around the black hole faster than the speed of light. But it doesn't matter because the speed of light only applies to things within space-time, not the space-time itself. So if you wanted to freeze time for yourself, slow down time, and come back to Earth 100 years later, you can perform the calculations to do that. You can travel out into space near a black hole, sit there for a couple days, and then come back to Earth. Perhaps you aged only a few days, but on the Earth, we aged hundreds of years.
I watched the movie. It's really good. I like it. Fun fact from the movie: there's a ticking sound in the background when they first land on that planet, and every time you hear that tick, it's 1 week Earth time. They did this on purpose.
So y'all know how we have the waters warming up like insane? Do you think this has anything to do with it? Maybe? In Florida right now, the water is 90 degrees right at Clearwater. It's May. That's crazy. We literally already have them watching 3 storms that could become hurricanes. Here they are, if you notice, where 2 of them are starting. It's because this devastating scenario I showed you guys a few days ago. Quick recap, Hurricane Katrina, now anomaly, mega anomaly. Now besides the anomaly that I've been talking about, I think it's worth looking into the undersea volcanoes because, for instance, Iceland is going freaking crazy now. And here's another shot of that. And so 2 days ago, we just had this anomaly pop up again on Ventu Sky. I want you guys to notice this very, very straight line. A straight line signifies something not natural because there are no straight lines in nature. but you can see the wave currents going up into it, and you know what's right here. Funny enough, Ventu's guys actually going to completely remove this model. But why? Also at the same time, we have India's capital hits a record-breaking 126 Fahrenheit in May. Definitely could be a coincidence. But now with all these catastrophic storms going on in the US, it makes you think. Really makes you think. And what's making these underwater volcanoes go off more than usual, or in general, all these volcanoes? 2024 is a very weird time. Like I said, this year don't go towards the hurricane. If a hurricane's coming, go the opposite way. And if you see two hurricanes turn to one hurricane, run.
Harp, they're trying to make us believe in climate change so they can push their agenda.
He was at Twitter headquarters, and he looks at all the engineering things, and they have 3 server farms, one in Portland, one in Sacramento, and one, I think, in Atlanta. And he does the calculus in his head, and he said, we don't really need 3 different redundant server farms. And the engineers say, well, yes, we do, because we need backups and we need caching or whatever. And he says, no, you're not going back to first principles thinking. If you look at this, anyway, he decides they should get rid of the servers in Sacramento. Well, they say, fine, but that'll take 6 months and he said, no, you can do it in 6 weeks. And the engineer, and I'm sitting there in the meeting, and he's getting really dark, and they don't know how to deal with him because this is like a month after he took over Twitter, so they don't know this dude. And they're saying, well, no, I'm sorry, Elon, we can't do it, and that. And he'd say, you can do it in 6 weeks. And by the end of the meeting, he said, you can do it in 6 days. He gets really dark, and he decides he's going to fire them. But it's December 23rd, so it's like 2 days before Christmas. He does fire them, but the next day, Christmas Eve, he's flying from San Francisco to Austin, Texas to go home for Christmas. He's with 2 young cousins on the plane who are engineers. And one of them says, why don't we just take those servers out ourselves? Elon Musk makes a U-turn in his airplane, tells the pilot to go to Sacramento. They were already over Nevada. They land. They rent a truck, a sort of what we call a U-Haul truck, a rental truck. And they go to the server facility, and the guard there is like flummoxed. It's Christmas Eve, and they're forcing their way in, and they're looking at the servers, and one of the engineers says, well, we can't take them out because we need engineers to take off these elevated floors, those floor tiles. And Musk turns to his bodyguard and says, do you have a pocket knife? The guy goes, yeah. And he takes a pocket knife and pulls up one of the vents, rips up the floor thing, goes underneath the floor panel with a set of wire cutters that he got from Home Depot and cuts the cable to the servers. And they start moving them out and put them in the U-Haul truck. And this is Musk and by the way, it's typical of Musk because it works fine for a few days. Then you can see the service getting a bit degraded, but then eventually it comes back. And he says, you got to take risks. If you're not sort of causing 20% of the problems from the risks you take, you're not taking enough risks. But there it is, and they got rid of that server farm in Sacramento.
Elon did not purchase Twitter as an investment. Elon Musk is probably known as the man who has lost the most money out of anybody ever.
So if you were to take cabbage, you don't need to do anything special to this cabbage. You literally just buy cabbage, perhaps at your farmer's market. Chop it up, put it into a mason jar, pack it in there, and add a sea salt brine solution, a saltwater solution. And you basically put this into, a nice cool space. Give it a week, you will have sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is not salty cabbage. It's tart, it's bitter, it's acidic, it's delicious. When you make it yourself, it is completely different than the sauerkraut that I grew up on that came from a can, which was soft and disgusting. So this is what fermentation is. It's transformation. The microbes, specifically bacteria and yeasts, are transforming the food for us. And when they do this, they also are eating. So because they eat, they grow stronger and they multiply. So you are creating a food that is high in microbes, which we could call probiotics. It has been transformed to unlock the nutrition, which we could call prebiotics. Prebiotics are the parts of our food that actually feed the microbes inside of us. It's their food, prebiotics. And they are releasing new chemicals that can have beneficial effects on your body, which we call postbiotics. You find all of this in that one jar of sauerkraut. So that to me is a superfood. And it could be sauerkraut, it could be kimchi. Pickles,
yes.
like pickles are not meant to be a vinegar thing. By the way, vinegar is the product of fermentation. But pickles were never meant to be, hey, add cucumbers and some vinegar and call it a day. True pickles are meant to be that you take the cucumbers, you don't skin them, you allow the microbes that are on the surface to do their job, and you put them into a saltwater solution with some dill, some garlic, black peppercorns, and a couple of days later, you will have a pickle.
Yep, this is really good. And I don't think you need water. Just add the salt and mix with your hands, then into the jar.
The moment you mention the name Jesus Christ of Nazareth, all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose. Why? Because the one who rules the world is Satan. And Satan knows the only one that put him to shame is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He doesn't.
Yep, Jesus Christ of Nazareth is king.
If you're seeing this video, you're on the 5D timeline. You called this video to you, and I'm going to show this to you in this video, and I'm going to evidence it to you, so please listen up. Now, do you remember the WHO preparedness treaty where they were going to seem to try and centralize global health power with the World Health Organization, and that had massive sort of implications around the world, didn't it? I want to show you something. At one point there was a sense of inevitability about that. It just felt there was a huge weight behind it, right? Literally in the last day or so, it's failed. Miracles Weekly, it melted away before we reached it. Today it is all over. The new Accord failed during the annual meeting of the WHO with its 194 member states in Geneva, Switzerland. There will be no drastic change. Tedros has come out and done a press conference saying that they couldn't reach an agreement, and there was a number of different things, again here, different articles showing member states failed to reach agreement on pandemic accord, countries were pulling out, they couldn't agree to the text, etc. So what does this have to do with 5D? We shifted on the eclipse, right? So if you're watching this now, you will be seeing different things around the world that looked like they were going to be very, very bad, all of a sudden start to melt away, because we're now residing in 5D, which is a higher frequency, and so things within this dimensional frequency band need to resonate. The low vibrational sort of control stuff doesn't, so you're going to start to see this stuff begin to fade away. Again, inevitability about the whole all of a sudden last minute just melts away like magic, right? Same as this kind of thing. Do you remember the whole 15-minute city thing? That was being pushed and pushed and pushed, and it seemed a certain inevitability about it. Saudi Arabia scaling back its version, drastically, people talking about it seem to have kind of gone quiet, and the whole thing is just melting away, right? So this video is to encourage you, and it's just to give you and to demonstrate to you just how these negative situations begin to melt away, because in this frequency band of 5D, they don't resonate. There is a dissonance, and so they fall away. Whatever is in with reality, or whatever reality you're experiencing, has to be in resonance with the collective consciousness frequency and the frequency of what's going on. You're starting to see this. Miracles happen, folks. Miracles happen in 5D. Anyway, share your experiences. I love you all unconditionally. Bye-bye.
Hello, all of my 5D family. We already won. It's just not visible yet.
Tell you that the long end is nearer to you. Now, it is nearer to you now, but now I'll put it back near my body. Now it's nearer to me, but it still looks as if it's nearer you, doesn't it? Because you're used to seeing things bigger when they are closer to you. Now, here's the spinning motor. It's simply a piece of cotton thread tied to this corner and tied to the other corner, and I've wound it around in my fingers so that when I let it go in a moment, it'll unwind, the thread will unwind, and you'll see the thing spinning. There we are. I'll hold it at the same level as your eyes, and we'll let it go. Now you know that it's turning around in circles. In fact, if you look at it from above, you can see that it's turning around in a circle. But now your brain is doing something strange. It's telling you that it's not going around in a circle, but it's oscillating. In other words, it's turning part way, stopping, and then going back the other way. Now this time, By fixing on the pen, you will be able to see that the pen is going around in a circle and not going backwards and forwards. But what's your brain going to tell you about the window? Will your brain allow you to see the window going around in a circle with the pen? Or are you going to see something really strange? Well, have a look at that. That's unbelievable, isn't it? You can see the pen going around in a circle, but your brain is telling you that the window is going part way around and turning and going the other way. And yet in order to do that, the two things have to pass through one another, the pen and the window. You know it's not possible. You know it can't happen. And yet as you look at it, you see them going through one another every time they go around. An amazing illusion, the Ames window.
If the Bible's not...
One reason why eyewitness testimony is often flawed. Our brain fills in the gaps. Reality is limited to our senses, folks.
A real history book, why don't they let you know what they found in the Grand Canyon, what they found all over America, what they found all over the world for that matter? Check this out. Do you remember reading your Bible? In Exodus, Pharaoh gave a decree to kill off every man-child.
And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Every newborn Hebrew man-child shall die. So let it be written. So let it be done.
People say the Bible's not even a real history book. There shouldn't be any evidence of this, right? Well, I've got some bad news for you, because it happened, and I've got the evidence to prove it. So now, watch this video.
Find a piggy bank filled with coins, ancient coins that date to 300 to 1000 BC, which is crazy how they dated the coins that way.
Yeah.
It's like there's 300 more years until Christ comes, you know? They found like a burial of this. I don't know how they deciphered this, but like a dancer. Her tomb was like adorned with like gifts, tons of beautiful ornaments, wine, rings on her fingers, bells on her toes. They found toys, little children's toys, little carved animals. They find manuscripts, artwork. They find homes filled with beautiful mosaic tiled floors depicting stories of hunting, stories of war. And just when they think they've found everything that they could, they realize that it goes deeper than what they were currently at. What they had discovered was only one city, when in fact they found 6 more cities.
What?
All built on top of each other. So they're going through all of this, and it's a whole 5-year ordeal. One day they find something that they haven't found before, and this one's different from everything else. They find a pot, less of a pot and more of an urn.
Nope.
They open the urn, and inside they find ash and bone. They take out all the bones, and they start laying it out to see what this is. The bones of a human, specifically bones of a baby.
Oh, what the
They document this, they continue digging, and soon after, they find another urn with another set of 1-year-old bones. Keep digging, and another urn, and another urn, and another. 18,000 urns later.
Holy hell.
Each urn containing one child. Something's going on here.
Yep. The Bible is the Word of God. It's powerful to read every morning. I believe it. I don't care about your evidence. And it's not just a history book. It is a revelation of Jesus Christ.
There does seem to be some kind of a massive cover-up of something. The earliest pictures we have of like these big cities are like from like the 1850s, and there are these massive cities, and they look very similar than they do today, actually, except for more grain looking, massive buildings, and there's like hardly any people out on the streets, like nobody. And sometimes in many cases it looks like muddy streets, and it's like, okay, so where are all the people at? It's very odd to have a giant city like that with no people. And then when you start to see people later, in like sometimes you have these early videos of like these cities like Paris and London, and all of the people are dressed really nice, like dressed to the nines, like aristocrat looking people. And then you're like, there's just something so off about this. Like I can't really kind of put my put my finger on it, but something's really off. And then you start to see the orphan train thing, and you're like, okay, so wait a minute. These things have to be related. And that's why I started to make the connections, like, wait a minute. The people who are dressed like that were not working in factories, right? They weren't working in fields, they weren't working in factories. These people look very rich. So maybe the pictures with nobody in them in these big cities, maybe the orphan trains were related to the fact that they needed people to go work in the factories. And then if you go look in more old pictures, kids working in factories, kids working in fields, kids doing all these random jobs. And then you see the insane asylums. Okay, so between like 1860 and 1929 in America, there's 250,000 kids on orphan trains. Again, the population is much bigger now. That number is huge now. It's way bigger then. And then there was 150,000 people in insane asylums. Okay, so the math actually makes sense, like that, were these the parents of these kids? And then the kids get shipped all around the world, all around the country, at least here, and I know it was a worldwide thing. And then you see like the things. So there's like 0 insane asylums now. There was like 1,500 of them in like 1900. There's like 0 orphanages now. Like all these things that are just, they don't have them anymore. And if you go look at the buildings that were prisons, orphanages, and insane asylums, and they're all these massive castle-style looking buildings. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
It seems very clear that, to me at this point, that those buildings were repurposed. Because you would not build a castle and then turn it into a prison. You would not build a castle and then turn it into a insane asylum or an orphanage. Because they don't look like that. Like, why would you spend that much money doing that unless it was already there and they needed use for it, and that's what they chose to use it for? If you believe kind of the mud flood story, and even if you don't believe, if you're not a Christian, you don't believe in the whole little season idea, you have to believe that the controllers, or whoever you want to call them, literally burned cities down, murdered people, threw people into insane asylums to hide stuff. They literally burned down the best buildings you've ever seen, that we've never seen, I guess now. You know, the best buildings ever created in order to hide something. So what could they be hiding? I think what seems very clear and obvious, it's something you could not even imagine. Like, it's bigger than you can even imagine. Because that's the only reason people would do that, right? Am I wrong? I mean, like, you're talking about a worldwide thing that this happened in order to cover up something. And the history books don't write about the reason for all the mud. They don't write about all this stuff.
Yeah, there's nothing deeper. This is like the very bottom of the rabbit hole. There's nothing deeper than Little Season, than what happened in the 1800s and 1900s. There's nothing deeper than this, because this explains everything.
Okay, doesn't it have something to do with the shutter speed of early cameras? You know, you have to stand completely still for minutes on end to actually appear in a photo. You know, therefore, anyone walking or horses, carriages disappeared in the final image. What do you think?
You don't clean the colon, there's absolutely nothing that you can do to get well. I don't care how elaborate that it is, the practice is. I don't care how much money it costs. If you don't clean the colon, you cannot get well. Did you know obesity is storing your own waste? When that waste gets loose into the bloodstream circulates the body 9 times a minute. And it drops that waste in every cell in the body. This is the reason for eyeglasses. This is the reason for headaches. This is the reason for hearing loss. This is the reason for your hair falling out, is because the colon waste is in the bloodstream. If you awaken to that and start to clean the waste out of the colon, not the bloodstream, out of the colon. Clean the waste out of the colon, it will stop leaking into the bloodstream, and then you can get on with some serious business of cleaning up the bloodstream. But the first thing you must do is cleanse the colon. Let me tell you something. It may be 20 years from now and you're on your deathbed when that comes to you. Now is the time to start to cleanse the colon. The reason why we are so sick is because of the food, the processed food that we eat. All of the fast food places adds nails to our coffin. The medicine worsens the condition that we have already started.
That's why he definitely has a point, but please tell us how to do it the right way. If anyone knows, you can share with us in the comment.
You need to be careful what music you listen to, because if music can get rid of a demon, it can attract one. And most of the music out here now attracts demons. Then you wonder why your lifestyle, you grooving and bumping in the car, but when you get out, you can't figure out why your life is standing still. Sometimes it's the music that you're listening to, because whoever you listen to was on them attaches itself to you. Rick Joyner said that he was in a vision. The Lord told him, he said in the last days, he said the enemy will bring up singers and other musicians, he said, and they will baptize millions of people into the demonic in one moment. Whoever you accept, you get what's on them. I reject a whole lot of stuff. So I reject stuff in the world. Unfortunately, I reject a lot of stuff in what we call church. You know, not all gospel music is gospel.
You know, when Lucifer was still an angel, he was the most prettiest angel in heaven, and he was put in charge of worship and praise. His wings were made of an instrument, and when he would flap his wings, he was the orchestra. But he envied God and wanted to be God. So be careful if you're saying, I am God, because you're not.
At one of the strangest patents in the entire U.S. patent system. Patent number 2006-001425A1, Walking Through Walls Training System. This patent refers to a unique process, a training system that enables a human being to acquire sufficient hyperspace energy in order to pull the body out of a dimension so that it may pass through solid objects. This is very real and was used by the U.S. Army at one point.
These days, you can patent anything, whether it works or not. All right, folks, I'm going to end our video with this coming clip. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make better content. Thank you for staying till the end. You can buy me coffee or support me through Patreon. The links are in the description below. Thank you for watching. Peace and God bless.
$100 if anybody can tell me what he said.
Even Lola tell you the same thing, she ain't had no damn highlights.
But did Lola used to shoot the 22?
She shot it, but she ain't had no damn highlights.
She did have highlights.
No, Lola did not.
Shit, they shoot
No,
out together,
Lola
they didn't
did
have to have no
not.
damn highlights.
They had
license, because that game one stopped over there and talked to him.
No.
After that game one talked to him, they went and got license.
Shit, Lola ain't had no damn highlights on like Lola had goddamn fishing lights.
How about we call her? Let that box of skull. How about we call her?
But Lola ain't never killed no damn squirrel then.
Yes, she did.
No, she did. You right about that, Chuck. I agree with that. I agree with that. Lola did not.
Let that box of skull.
Lola did not. Lola tell you.